I'm Scott Simi, Chief Content Editor with InDro Robotics, and on today's edition of our Soundbite micro podcast, I'm joined by Kate Klassen, InDro's training and regulatory specialist. Kate is also a multi-rated pilot and traditional aircraft instructor, as well as Canada's best-known online drone instructor. So welcome, Kate.
Thank you, Scott.
So the new Transport Canada RPAS regulations go into effect November 4th of 2025. There are a lot of changes the industry has embraced, including, I guess, perhaps most significantly, the enabling of routine, low-risk, beyond visual line of sight flights. Now, that's providing you have the new pilot certificate, Level 1 complex, and you or your company hold an RPAS operator's certificate. Before we go further, maybe you could explain just what routine low-risk BVLOS is.
Routine, low-risk, beyond visual line of sight is flights that will take place where you cannot see the drone anymore in uncontrolled airspace, 5 nautical miles away from aerodromes, and outside of population densities where there's greater than, we'll say 5 people per square kilometer. There is another category in there, but we'll call it that to keep it concise.
Now, because drones will be flying beyond visual line of sight, Transport Canada and operators obviously want to avoid any conflict with low-flying aircraft with people on board. I understand that can be done with visual observers and using technologies like radar or acoustics, but let's start with visual observers. What do the new rules say about that?
Transport Canada has published a standard that we can follow to define the situations where visual observers can be used as your detect and avoid solution, your DAA. So they're not able to see the aircraft necessarily, but they are able to scan the airspace to alert you as the pilot of where those conflicting aircraft might be that you need to avoid.
So if you wanted to do a longer range BVLOS flight, that would require a trained visual observer at least every 4 nautical miles along the route. Is that correct?
Yes, you've got it exactly right, because the visual observers can scan 2 nautical miles worth of airspace. So they could do 2 nautical miles in one direction and then turn their body and do 2 nautical miles in another direction. So it does give you that 4 nautical mile kind of range per VO, as long as you are able to comply with the conditions of that standard, which include things like obstacles within their line of sight and the position of the sun.
Now, many in the industry have their eye on sort of long-range asset inspection and other forms of data acquisition where the distances kind of make visual detect and avoid using people a challenge. So I guess that poses kind of a problem. Like what I'm hearing is that there isn't really an approved and affordable detect and avoid solution for these long-range missions where using visual observers isn't practical. Is that fair to state?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big hindrance in the adoption and use of these routine, low-risk, beyond visual line of sight regulations. And been saying it's kind of the first time where we maybe have regulations that permit things that our technology has not yet caught up to. So until we see some technology solutions that support the detection volume scanning that's going to surround the aircraft that's flying beyond visual line of sight, we can't really take full advantage of what these regulations permit.
Now, I understand there's lobbying from the industry for a different solution to mandate low-flying aircraft to broadcast their position and altitude using automatic dependent surveillance broadcast, also known as ADS-B out. This device is currently not mandated for uncontrolled airspace. So what would a mandate mean for drone operators and even for pilots of crewed aircraft?
With a mandate for ADS-B out in uncontrolled airspace, it would enable all of the aircraft that could be a conflict for drone pilots to be conspicuous, to be visible. They would be constantly, effectively yelling out, "Here I am, here I am, here I am." And the drone operators could pick up on those signals and therefore avoid those aircraft effectively. And it would be a top-down, broad solution for all of Canada without it having to be a piecemeal technology solution that the drone operators are responsible for implementing and maintaining and ensuring it covers the volume that they need it to cover to protect their operations. So it's also a reassurance for crewed aircraft, any aircraft that has a person on board, because then they're able to know that they are visible for those drones and the drones are not going to be a conflict. So it's reassurance for them, and it's enabling drone operations to expand as the regulations have set out for them to be able to do.
Tell us more about how the drone industry is trying to bring this to the attention of regulators.
We're pushing forward a petition to try to get this some more attention. Initial conversations with various stakeholders have indicated that this would be something of interest. It seems to tick a lot of boxes without causing too many complaints, and the complaints that I have heard are easily accommodated. We're trying right now to bring awareness to the idea of this top-down solution of ADS-B out for aircraft that are operating in uncontrolled airspace below 500 feet, aka the airspace that drones are going to be operating in. And if we're able to pass this, it would be a very interesting example internationally to be able to point to. And for a nation like Canada, where we're so large, it is a really viable solution that would cover the entire country without needing to try and kind of puzzle piece different solutions together and require technologies to be developed that currently don't exist and don't meet the TC standards for detect and avoid.
How can interested parties let their voices be heard?
I'm sure you will link at some point in this post to our page where you could sign the petition. And by filling that out, it's going to show that there is a movement behind this idea. It's not just a few of us that think this might be a good plan. And the more voices we get on there, the more signatures we get on there, the more seriously will be taken.
And for those looking to obtain their pilot certificate Level 1 Complex, I understand you have a course available. Where can people find that?
I do. It is our pilot ground school. And this is the first time that Transport Canada has mandated ground school training. And so it is a requirement if you're pursuing your Level 1 Complex, regardless of whether you've taken ground school before, because it is a whole new knowledge requirement document. So it's 20 hours. So you get to listen to my voice for 20 hours, unless you want to speed me up and listen to me like a chipmunk, because it's all online and asynchronous. But 20 hours of content for you to get through, and that's through our website at fly.ca, and that's fly with 2 Ys.
Kate Klassen, InDro's regulatory and training specialist, thank you so much for your time. It's always great speaking with you.
Same with you, Scott. Thanks for having me.